My name's Ryan. I'm 36, an engineer by trade, and the kind of guy who keeps things straightforward. My wife Lisa and I have been married for 7 years. The first few were great: laughs, vacations, and the occasional fight about whose turn it was to clean the kitchen. You know, normal stuff. But over the past 6 months, something shifted. It wasn't some dramatic soap opera kind of change, it was subtle. A creeping unease, like that one corner of your house where the Wi-Fi signal keeps dropping for no reason. Lisa got possessive. Not of me, but her phone. She took it everywhere, even to the shower, which made me wonder if she was waterproofing the damn thing. She'd stay up late, scrolling through Pinterest, but never seemed to have new ideas for redecorating. And the kicker? She started going to the gym more often, yet nothing in our fridge hinted at a new health kick. Call me cynical, but I've never met a person who sweats for hours at a gym and still eats Hot Pockets for lunch. Then one night, while she was in the shower, I made a decision. I know what you're thinking, snooping's a bad look. And you're right. But when someone's weaving lies, sometimes you've got to tug the thread to see where it unravels. So I grabbed her phone, entered the passcode, her birthday, real original, and dove in. I wish I hadn't. Explicit texts, videos, and selfies greeted me like the world's sleaziest slideshow. The recipient? Some idiot named Chris. He wasn't even clever enough to hide his profile picture, a grinning guy holding a protein shake in one hand and a dumbbell in the other. Of course, it had to be a Chris. The texts were cliché, stuff about missing her, how no one understands him like she does, and worst of all, how she made him feel alive. It was like watching a bad Hallmark movie, except this one starred my wife and a gym bro. I didn't lose it. Not yet. Instead, I let the anger simmer. I wanted more than an emotional explosion. I wanted revenge. Not the petty, break her phone kind. I'm talking about the kind of revenge that burns the earth behind you. Something thorough, permanent, and unforgettable. Revenge isn't something you rush. It's like a good steak, it needs time to marinate. After that first night, I kept my cool. Lisa had no idea I knew, which gave me the advantage. If I wanted to pull this off, I needed to plan carefully. The first step? Getting to know Chris. I wasn't about to punch the guy without knowing who I was dealing with, though, let me tell you, it was tempting. A quick dive into his Facebook told me everything I needed to know. Chris, 34, was married. His wife, Jessica, was a nurse, and judging by her posts, a genuinely sweet person who deserved a lot better than the trash she married. They had 2 kids, which made him not only a cheat but a deadbeat in my book. I decided to use Lisa's own tools against her. One afternoon when she was at work, I took her laptop and logged into her email. Of course it was locked, but it was almost too easy. Her password was our wedding date. Irony's a cruel thing, isn't it? Scrolling through their messages, I wanted to puke. The things they said to each other were pathetic. But instead of letting my anger get the best of me, I focused. I needed this to work. I crafted a message as if I were Lisa. I miss you. I can't stop thinking about you. Can you come over tonight? Ryan won't be home. Use the side door, it'll be unlocked. Just undress down to your underwear and come straight to the bedroom. I'll be waiting for you. I stared at it for a moment before hitting send. The absurdity of the message wasn't lost on me, but that's what made it perfect. Chris responded almost instantly. I'll be there, babe. Can't wait to see you. Of course, he couldn't. The real fun began when I erased the messages from email. She'd never know the conversation took place. Then, I went about setting the stage. I left the side door unlocked, just as I'd promised Chris. But before I did, I made sure the home security cameras were angled perfectly to capture every second of what was about to happen. I also parked my car a few blocks away. I didn't want Chris spotting it and getting suspicious. Once everything was ready, I sat in the darkened bedroom, waiting like a hunter in a blind. Would he show up? Would Lisa find out and blow the whole thing before I got my chance? My heart pounded, but not with fear. It was anticipation. A little before 10 p.m., I heard the side door creak open. Footsteps followed, cautious but eager. My grip on the baseball bat in my lap tightened. I wasn't planning on using it, probably, but having it there felt comforting. And then there he was. Chris. He stepped into the bedroom wearing nothing but his boxers, his bare chest puffed out like he was auditioning for a cologne ad. The smug grin on his face told me he thought he was about to score. Too bad for him. The only thing he was about to score was a trip to the ER. Chris didn't even see me at first. He walked into the room like he owned the place, that stupid grin plastered across his face. I let him take a few steps closer to the bed before I stepped out of the shadows, baseball bat in hand. "What the hell are you doing in my house?" I barked, my voice sharp enough to cut steel. Chris froze like a deer in headlights. His mouth opened and closed a couple of times, but no words came out. His brain was still buffering. I took a step forward, slamming the bat against the floor for emphasis. "Answer me, you piece of shit. What are you doing here?" He stammered, his hands instinctively covering himself like I'd caught him in the middle of a robbery. "Oh, so you're just gonna walk into someone's house half naked, and not have a damn answer?" I barked. Chris started backing up, but I wasn't going to let him off that easy. I lunged forward, shoving him hard enough to send him sprawling onto the floor. "Wait. Man, wait," he yelled, his voice trembling. "It's not what it looks like." I couldn't help but laugh at that. A deep, guttural laugh that seemed to rattle him even more. "Oh really? It's not what it looks like? You mean you didn't sneak into my house, strip down to your underwear, and come into my bedroom hoping to screw my wife? Enlighten me, Chris. What exactly were you planning to do, huh? Tuck me in and read me a bedtime story." Before he could answer, I dropped the bat and shouted, "Get up." He tried to say something, probably another pathetic excuse, but I wasn't interested. My fist connected with his jaw before he got the chance. "Stay down," I growled as he stumbled backward. But he didn't listen. Desperation must have kicked in, because he actually tried to fight back. He threw a wild punch, but I dodged it easily. His effort was pathetic, really. One well-placed hook to his ribs was all it took to drop him to the floor, gasping for air. "Look at you," I sneered, standing over him. "Pathetic. You come into another man's house to screw his wife, and this is the best you've got." Chris didn't answer. He just lay there, wheezing and clutching his side. I let him stew for a moment before stepping back. That's when I grabbed my ace in the hole, the security camera remote. I pressed a button to switch the system to live playback. "You see that, Chris?" I said, gesturing to the little camera blinking in the corner of the room. "That's been recording this entire time. Every step you took, every second you've been in here. All on tape." The color drained from his face. "No man, come on," he begged. "You can't show that to anyone." "Can't I?" I said, tilting my head mockingly. "You see, Chris, breaking into someone's house is a crime. Being stupid enough to do it half-naked just makes it easier to prove. So unless you want me handing this footage over to the cops, I suggest you sit there and shut the hell up." By now he looked like a dog that had been kicked one too many times, pitiful, trembling, and completely out of his depth. I grabbed my phone and made the call. 911, what's your emergency?" "Yes," I said, my voice calm and measured. "I just caught a half-naked man breaking into my house. I have it all on camera. Please send someone immediately." Chris's eyes widened, and he started shaking his head violently. "No. No man, don't do this. Please." "Too late," I said coldly. The cops arrived faster than I expected. I met them at the door, still playing the part of the confused and furious homeowner. Chris, looking like he'd been hit by a truck, tried to explain himself. But with the security footage and my version of the events, he didn't stand a chance. They hauled him off in cuffs, and I made sure to give a convincing performance of a man utterly clueless as to why some random dude had chosen my house to break into. The best part? Chris stayed silent. I think he knew that if he admitted the truth, he'd lose a lot more than his pride. The house was dead silent after the cops dragged Chris away. I sat on the couch, staring at the chaos in the bedroom, a few overturned chairs, the baseball bat lying on the floor, and a faint smear of blood where Chris's nose had kissed the hardwood. I didn't bother cleaning up. I wanted Lisa to see it all. She came home around midnight, dropping her purse on the counter and kicking off her shoes like it was any other night. "Hey," she called out, "you still up?" "Oh, I'm up," I replied, my voice calm, almost casual. She stepped into the living room, her smile fading the second she saw me sitting there in the dim light. Then her eyes darted toward the bedroom door, still slightly ajar. "What happened in there?" she asked, her tone laced with confusion, and just a hint of panic. "I was hoping you could tell me," I said, leaning back in my seat. "Because tonight's been interesting." Lisa blinked, clearly trying to process what I meant. "What are you talking about?" "Oh, you know, just the half-naked guy who broke into our house tonight," I said, keeping my voice neutral. Her face went pale. She laughed nervously, like I'd just told a bad joke. "What? What are you talking about?" I stood up, crossing the room to grab the TV remote. "Here," I said, turning on the surveillance footage and hitting play. "Let me show you." The screen lit up, showing Chris sneaking in through the side door, stripped down to his boxers, and walking confidently into our bedroom. Lisa's eyes widened as she stared at the screen, her hand flying to her mouth. "Oh my God," she whispered. "Oh my God is right," I said, turning to face her. "Now Lisa, I have to ask, do you know this guy? Because he seemed pretty damn comfortable in our house." Her lips moved, but no words came out. She looked like she was about to faint. "I mean," I continued, stepping closer, "he knew to use the side door. He knew to come straight to the bedroom. Hell, he even got dressed for the occasion, or should I say undressed." I don't know him," she stammered, her voice trembling. "I swear, Ryan, I have no idea who he is." I nodded slowly, pretending to believe her. "Okay. So you won't mind if I call the cops back and press charges, right? I mean, you'd want to help me get justice, wouldn't you?" Her eyes darted around the room, searching for an escape, but there wasn't one. I leaned in closer, lowering my voice. "Or maybe I should call his wife instead. You know, Jessica. She seems nice, probably deserves to know what her husband's been up to." That's when she cracked. The tears came first, big fat drops rolling down her cheeks. Then the words spilled out in a frantic rush. Okay, fine. "I know him," she sobbed. "His name's Chris, and we've been seeing each other. But it's over, I swear. I didn't want this to happen, Ryan. Please, you have to believe me." "Believe you?" I said, laughing bitterly. "Lisa, you couldn't tell the truth if your life depended on it. You've been sneaking around with that clown while I've been here, busting my ass to keep this house running. And now you want me to believe it's over? Give me a break." She dropped to her knees, clutching at my hand. "Please, Ryan. I'll do anything. We can fix this. We can go to counseling, whatever it takes." I yanked my hand away. "Fix this? There's no fixing this, Lisa. You burned this marriage to the ground the second you let that idiot into your life. And now, you're going to deal with the consequences." I pulled out my phone, opening Facebook and typing out a message to Jessica. I didn't even try to hide it. Lisa watched in horror as I hit send. "What did you do?" she gasped. "I told her the truth," I said coldly. "Unlike you, I'm pretty good at being honest." It didn't take long for Jessica to respond. About 20 minutes after I sent the message, my phone buzzed. Lisa sat frozen on the couch, pale and shaking as if the weight of her guilt were physically crushing her. I didn't bother stepping out of the room. I wanted her to hear every word of what was about to happen. Jessica's voice was steady when she answered, though I could hear the tension beneath it. "Hi, this is Jessica. I got your message. Who is this?" "This is Ryan," I said. "I'm Lisa's husband." I could feel Lisa glaring daggers at me, but I didn't care. "I thought you should know that your husband, Chris, has been sneaking around with my wife." There was a long pause. When Jessica finally spoke, her voice cracked just slightly. Are you sure? There must be some kind of mistake." "No mistake," I interrupted, keeping my tone firm but not unkind. "I have proof. Videos, texts, the works. And just tonight, I caught him sneaking into my house in his underwear, thinking Lisa was here waiting for him. The cops took him out in cuffs. I can send you the footage if you need it." Her sharp intake of breath was audible. He's in jail. Yep, I confirmed. Trespassing charges. I'd bet he's already cooking up a story to tell you, but I figured you deserved the truth. Jessica's voice hardened. Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate you telling me. I think I've heard enough. I could only imagine the storm brewing on her end, but I wasn't about to get in the way of that train wreck. Good luck, I said before hanging up. Lisa, meanwhile, looked like she wanted to disappear into the couch. You didn't have to call her, she muttered, tears streaming down her face. I turned to her, my expression cold and unflinching. Yes, I did. Jessica didn't deserve this any more than I did. Unlike you, I'm not going to protect a cheater. Her sobs grew louder as I walked past her and into the bedroom. I grabbed a suitcase from the closet and tossed it onto the bed. What are you doing? She asked, her voice trembling. Packing your things, I said flatly. You're leaving. Tonight. Ryan, please, she begged, following me into the room. We can work through this. I made a mistake, but I love you. Doesn't that mean anything? I stopped what I was doing and stared at her. Lisa, if you loved me, you wouldn't have done this. You didn't make a mistake, you made a choice. Over and over again. And now you get to live with it. Her pleas fell on deaf ears as I zipped up the suitcase and handed it to her. Go stay with Chris, for all I care. I'm done. The divorce papers were filed the next morning. Lisa tried to plead with me a few more times, but I shut her down every time. By then, I was running on pure adrenaline. Jessica and I kept in touch over the next few weeks. She confirmed what I'd suspected. Chris had been lying to her for months. She kicked him out of the house and started divorce proceedings of her own. Knowing he'd lost everything, Chris tried to apologize to me, an email full of excuses and self-pity. I didn't bother replying. Lisa's life didn't exactly flourish after that. Word about the affair got out, thanks to our small-town gossip network. Her friends distanced themselves, and her family wasn't too keen on her behavior either. She ended up moving in with her sister a few states away, leaving behind a wreckage of burned bridges. As for me, I moved on. The divorce settlement worked out in my favor. I kept the house, the car, and most of our savings. I've been focusing on myself since then, hitting the gym without lying about it, reconnecting with old friends, and even starting to date again. There's a strange peace that comes after a storm like this. I wouldn't wish the experience on anyone, but I'll admit there's something deeply satisfying about watching people who thought they could betray you face the consequences of their actions. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this: when someone shows you who they really are, believe them. And when they try to play you for a fool, don't just sit there and take it. Sometimes, the best revenge is simply reclaiming your life.